Good morning, everybody. We are live. We are here. Let me tweet this out to the world. And we are speaking about, uh, we're speaking about a amazing morning that is pretty amazing for growth stocks. Pretty amazing because we got inflation down. We've got inflation down. Hello, Lars, Sashi, Sasky Rose, Cameron Investing. Hello. Thank you all for being here. Inflation's down, baby. Inflation is down. Let me put this into my Discord. Let everybody know I am live. Live morning open. How is everyone's day going? Because it's not a bad day to have some inflation go down. Uriel, Jason, Cameron, David, John, Sonam, Captain Chuck, Ray, Eeyore was right. Eeyore, if you were right about this, you were definitely right. Chris, Felicia, hello. We are back. And the stock market is ripping. So let's open up Webull. Obviously, you guys know what has happened. Inflation is down. Core CPI 7.7%. We expected 7.9%. In fact, on a little show that I do, I actually predicted that I think it's going to be lower than 7.9. And, there was a little bet that I made with my co-host on that show. And I ended up being right, which means he has to do the bet. This is great news for people in growth stock. Now, let me say one thing. I personally do not think that this means the market sustains the rally. I think it's going to be pretty tough for the market to sustain the rally. Today it's going to be nice, but tomorrow there's a good chance it just might not happen, or things might go back to normal. So it's good for the day. We get to enjoy the day at least, which is nice. But in terms of it actually being able to stay like this, I don't know. We're going to have to see. We're really going to have to see if it's able to stay up. Let me open up Webull real quick. Let me get this out here. Stocks are obviously ripping. Tesla's up to 190 pre-market. Palantir is up about 3% pre-market as well. Indexes are up as well, and it's not doing bad. So here we go. Here's Webull, and let me share my screen. Shout out to 80 people that are here already. Square. Let me go to Square. Did Square rip this morning? Hold on. Let's see. Cindy, good morning. Thank you for being here. It said it's cold. It's cold in Vegas? Can't be colder than New Jersey. Okay, let's go to Square. What's Square pre-market? Wow, Square's up 10% pre-market. Meta is up 5% pre-market. Roblox up 8%. Tesla up 8.79%. Netflix up 4.9%. Roku up 10% basically. Pre-market. Arc Innovation up 10%. Wow. These stocks are Coinbase up 10%, Spotify up 7%, Apple up 4%, Google up 5%. So obviously the market likes it. The market likes it. It's good for the market. NASDAQ. So interesting. NASDAQ hasn't really rallied up from this. Let's go to the S&P. S&P I think was at 385. S&P is 387. S&P is flirting with 390, and then from 390 we're only 10 away from 400, and then 400. There we go. Obviously, Enphase is going to rally like crazy on this news because Enphase is the one stock in the market that can't stop rallying. But the market likes it. The market absolutely likes it. Palantir was up 7%, not 3%. Oh, my bad. Palantir was up 7%, not 3%. Tesla is up 9%, 193 pre-market. So Tesla went down to about, 178 yesterday? That was the lows. That was the real lows. Now it's up to 193. The signs have been clear. The people who have been contributing to inflation are being laid off left and right. Of course, inflation is going down. I think the main thing I talked about today on the Cowbell show, the Daily Cowbell, the Cowbell show sounded weird, was commodity prices peaking, right? And it's the same argument as you say Kramer made. Kramer predicted a hot CPI number in a tech meltdown. Of course, we should have known it was the opposite. Now, Kramer called inflation peaking back in June. The problem is he flip-flops every other day on TV. So, of course, he said a hot CPI and a tech meltdown. So, of course, obviously, the opposite has happened. CPI still high, but lower than expected, and this is what we get. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? This is the issue. This is why I'm a little bit cautious of this. Tesla is up at 193. Dan Ives, by the way, famous analyst from Wedbush, he just said his Tesla target has been reduced from 300 to 250. Now, if you are in the Tesla universe, you know Dan Ives. Dan Ives is someone who's incredibly bullish on this company. It's not something you would expect from him to just reduce his price target that meaningfully, but he does not like the Twitter shenanigans that are going on with Elon. Now, this is going to be interesting. Inflation comes in lower, which is really good for growth stock. So does the Twitter stuff that's going on actually overdetermine the capacity for Tesla to be able to rise in the face of this news that is incredibly powerful for growth stocks? I mean, that's the actual question that's here right now. And it's going to be interesting to see if Tesla can rally from it. I kind of have a little bit of a feeling that as great as this market is, 7% inflation, 7.7 is not good, right? Yes, it's down and the market is forward looking and we bake things in. And if this continues, that's great, but it's not still good. And so I don't know how long this rally will be. It's going to be very interesting today to see in the 9:30 in the market open what actually happens. Bitcoin, 17,417. Bitcoin got to a low of about 15,000 the other days. Obviously, Bitcoin has rallied just like growth stocks have rallied. Bitcoin performs with the NASDAQ. If the NASDAQ goes down, Bitcoin goes down. So if you are a Bitcoin bull or crypto bull, the reason you buy is because you believe growth stocks will go up. The reason you sell is because growth stock, it's the same thesis to me as any type of growth stock. I called my brother in panic and forced him to buy Tesla yesterday. That's a great thing to do. I was thinking of buying yesterday, but I didn't buy. I didn't buy anything yesterday. I was just like, it still feels so. I know, like on the day the skies is falling, you buy, but it also did not feel. It did not feel like yesterday was a great day. Obviously, inflation could have been worse, and then this whole narrative changes. Imagine inflation is worse than expected, like it was last time. That's why it's hard to predict. Last time, everyone thought it would be below 8.1 or something, and it came in at 8.3, and we were just like, what is going on? Meta laying off the thousands of employees they laid off now at 106. It's rallied from its lows of $88. So let's do some quick math right here. If you bought it at 88, you would be up 14%, basically 15% on your money within a couple of days. And so that's how crazy this market is, right? You can buy at those low levels, but obviously you have to time it perfectly, right? You have to buy at 88 perfectly, hope it doesn't go down to 78. Or if you bought at 95, you have to DCA when it goes. So like if you bought perfectly on Meta, you would be up about 15% since then. And so that's what's happening right here. Roku is up as well. ARK is up as well. Look, Kathy said there's going to be significant deflation in the next 6 months. We're going to see if that happens. If that does happen, we will see. But if that doesn't happen, we are going to see how bad it gets. Tesla has to be in the 70 range for me to touch it. Yeah, I don't think it gets to 70, man. I think I see the argument there. I know a lot of people say it's going under 100, but I don't know if it's going under 100. I think it might go down more. I don't know if it's going to go under 100. That's why you got to put in limits at lower levels. So when it buys, you don't even remember putting them 3 months ago. That is very true. That is very true. You put in those limits, it just executes. You don't even have to worry about it. Show the math again on Meta. I'm UT. We are a public school, bro. Shout out to TJ. Everyone check out the Wheel the Deals Trading Journal. This guy trades with quite literally millions of dollars every day. So definitely check out his channel. Good friend of the channel as well. He has 200,000 shares of SoFi. So if you're a SoFi bull, it's going to be good. So to calculate percent change, we take the current price. So Meta's 101, divided by the previous price. So I'm looking at what it was from 88. So we divide that by 88. Then we subtract 1 and then we multiply that by 100. And that gets us 14.7%. So from 88 to 101, you are up 15%. And that makes sense, right? Because if you do 88 times 0.147, you get 12.9 plus 88. And then boom, you get 100.9, which is 101. Therefore, you're up 14.9%. So that's a simple formula for anyone. For anyone who ever wants to calculate quickly, like how much am I up? You just take the current price divided by the old price minus 1 times 100. That's it. Bro, I come in and this man is doing his percentage equation. What's up, Nate? Shout out to Nate. All right, everybody. We've got a minute till the market opens. Here we go. 204 people being here. Thank you so freaking much for being here. We started this channel this time last year, November. Who would have thought November 2021, starting this channel, 0 subscribers, 1 year later, 15,200 people showing up in the morning. It means the absolute world for me. One day, you never know, there might be 2,000 people every morning, just consistently grinding, working. I'm not going to lie. Things have been tough. Things are very tough every day. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Things are very hard. And I know everyone who's trying to do anything relates to that. in whatever capacity you're doing it, but you keep moving forward no matter how hard it gets. And it's the same thing with the markets. You keep investing, you keep DCAing if you're a long-term investor, and eventually things happen. And today's one of those days. Tomorrow might be crap, but today's one of those days where you enjoy the day. You know, if you have like a girlfriend in high school or something, you're probably not going to get married. You enjoy that time because you enjoy that time, and whatever happens after, what happens after. All right. November 10th, 9:30 a.m. The stock market in the United States of America is open. My mom actually is off from work today, so I wonder if she heard that. As you can see, the entire right of my screen, by the way, wake your ass up, is now green. We've got S&P at 388, Block, Square 63 up 10%, Meta up 5%, Roblox 33 up 8%, Tesla, it was at 193 pre-market. Now it's at 188. It's up 6%. Let's see how the market treats it. Netflix 267 up 5%, Roku up 9%, 52. Roku completely eliminating their disastrous earnings, which wasn't disastrous by the numbers, but the market thought it was disastrous. It's recovered from that. ARK up 36, up 10%. So again, if you bet on ARK yesterday, you're up 11% on your money. If you put $1,000 into ARK, you're up $100 today, right? So these are the crazy types of swings that are going on right now in the market. Robinhood, even though the FTX stuff is happening, which by the way, we'll talk about, Binance pulled out a deal, which is absolutely insane. Now up 8% at $9. Palantir up 9% at 760. I snagged about $700 worth of Palantir, which was 100 shares at 698. So happy I was able to get that purchase in as Palantir rallies. Spotify up 77. By the way, Alex Karp released a new video today, and we can talk about that later, talking about distributed data systems. Going past 130, up at 141. Upstart is up. Snapchat, Google, Microsoft, everything is up. Let's go into the comments. Upstart up 10%. Get out of here. Yep, there it is. Wake your ass up. Hit the like, Tom. Thank you so much. Short's going to be covering. It would suck to be short this morning. It would absolutely suck to be short this morning. You know what Wejo was working on in Vegas? Do you think they will survive this market downturn? Let's actually go to Wejo. I think Wejo will survive because I saw the tech close up, and like the product is phenomenal. The data they have, the go-to-market, like it's phenomenal. The stock sucks, and I don't know their financials, but I do think they have enough liquidity to survive the stock sucking for a while. All of these SPACs got destroyed. Wejo is one of those SPACs that I think is legit. I do not think that company is going out of business. Now, could I be wrong? Possibly, but like I spent a good like 7-8 hours learning about what they're doing. When you have that level of conviction. Now, do I buy it? No, I buy Palantir, and I get exposure to Wejo through Palantir. I'm obviously more bullish on Palantir, but I think they'll survive. I think it just takes time for the macro to really recognize them, and they have to just grow their numbers. And if they're able to do that, they'll be good. But the tech is good. I mean, the tech is seems legit. We'll just see how it happens. Macro is green. Market needed this. Shout out to Sean. Thank you for being here. Absolutely, the market needed this. Now, the thing about the market needing this is like, if it is short-lived, then it's just one of those things we enjoy for the day. And the market decides that we don't care about it tomorrow, which has literally happened like 10 times over the past couple of months, right? We've had some amazing rallies, more than 10%, almost 15, 17%. And the market's like, yeah, but there's a war in Ukraine. Yeah, there's gas prices and OPEC is screwing Biden. It's like, so I guess we'll see if it ends up lasting. The one thing about this is that earnings were pretty amazing across the board. I mean, yeah, there were some bad earnings like Upstart and Roku and a couple of other companies, but like Square had phenomenal earnings, SoFi had phenomenal earnings, Palantir not phenomenal, but not bad at all. Big tech killed it, Meta killed it. The only reason the stock price fell is because Zuck just couldn't shut his mouth. But like, earnings were great. The market, the overall sentiment around them were fine. It's just the macro wasn't in place. And now this may be a shift in terms of how we think about the macro. Also, we have a bit of a divided Congress now. We have likely the Senate being taken by the Democrats, Republicans taking the House. And so not much is likely going to get done. So we're going to see how this lineup all plays out. Pops will fade. They will stop until they stop fading. Yeah, I agree. Palantir up 10%, ASML up 8%. Binance bails on FTX. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Binance has officially bailed on FTX. They are done with FTX. They are not going to go through the deal. It was pretty sad. Let me actually share the tweet. Comment your first reaction in the chat as soon as you heard, if you did hear, if this is not the first time you're hearing it, that Binance was pulling out of the deal. I would like to know your first thoughts. Because when I saw that, I was like, man, this is not good. Glitch Life, good morning. Thank you for being here. Let me open up Twitter real quick. So this is CZ. He is the owner of Binance. A lot of people don't know, by the way, he is also a majority owner in Forbes, the magazine. So this guy has got his fingers in a lot of different places when it comes to being able to work within the market. So let me, here we go. Look at, this was the tweet. Sad day, tried, but crying emoji. He is referencing, we tried to buy them out, but we couldn't. Now, what is the reason they couldn't buy them out? What do you think? What could be the reason for this? The simplest explanation is that apparently, allegedly, we'll know more when details comes out, FTX was taking client funds and trading with them. So what does that mean? That means if I put in $100,000 to Bank of America and I'm like, Bank of America, you got my money, right? They're like, yeah, we got your money. And I'm like, because if you don't got my money, I'm going to go to Wells Fargo or like Capital One. They're like, no, we got your money. So I'm like, Bank of America, if I need $100,000 tomorrow, I will be able to get it, right? They're like, yes, you'll be able to get it. Boom. Now, in all honesty, I'm probably not going to need $100,000 tomorrow, right? Why? Because like I keep it in the bank for a reason. So Bank of America is like, look, Amit's probably not going to need his 100 grand. So let's reserve 10% of it. There's like a legal number. I think it's 7 to 10%. That's like what the Fed regulates that all banks have to do. And we'll put that money in the bank and we'll take 90,000 of it and we'll go invest it. And we'll use his money to make more money. And then eventually when he needs his money, he'll be able to come get his 100,000. And because we have so much reserves, if he actually did need 100,000 tomorrow, we can use other people's money because we have multiple millions of clients and we can give them his 100,000 in cash. That is the way a bank works. FTX it's like Bank of America. The analogy is they took that 100,000 and they blew it on some stocks and that 100,000 disappeared. And now I need my 100,000 because I don't trust them anymore and they can't give it to me. And they have a liquidity crunch. And that's what FTX was doing, apparently. Let's go to Bitcoin right now. FTX was taking the money, they were putting it into all these different assets. They were messing up on these trades because the stock market is falling. So they were using client funds at the tunes of billions to make unprofitable trades. Then they got bankrolled, money was needed, and they needed to get bailed out. Now, the Binance strategic acquisition was so Binance could make sure that customers don't lose their money. It's like if Wells Fargo was acquiring Bank of America to make sure that I could take my 100,000 out. The problem is that Binance was like, you've done such a horrible job with managing other people's money. We can't even afford to bail you out in this situation, which means you're going to have to collapse. And unfortunately, your customers' balances are also going to have to collapse. And that's how bad this thing was. First thought, sugar, honey, iced tea. Totally understand. Sasky Rose says, I think Binance maybe didn't have an intention of buying them. They want to screw FTX in the first place. No, I disagree with that. I do think they want to screw FTX, which is why they sold the FTT token, 100%. The problem is FTX collapsing is not good for crypto. It is not good for the industry. It is not good for the sentiment. It's not good for regulation. It's Binance saving them makes Binance the top dog and makes them like pseudo a monopoly. And, makes them kind of unstoppable. If this happens to FTX, there's a lot of arguments for why this could also happen to Binance one day. So I don't think they wanted the market to collapse. Additionally, the Voyager debt on 70 cents on the dollar for those who had money in Voyager was supposed to be bought out by FTX. That's likely not going to happen anymore. So this is pretty crazy. Square candle. Let's go to Square. Let's see what Square is doing. Go in the 1 minute. Wow. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. 57 to 65. You'd make 13% of your money in one day. Goodness. That's why it's hard to have options on puts and calls and all this stuff because you're like the market's running. Tesla at 184. Okay, here we go. We're going to do this live. Let's do a little DCA into Tesla. Let's begin a DCA into Tesla because I've wanted to start DCAing into Tesla. 184 is actually not that good on a day the market's doing this. We're going to do $500 of Tesla. I've been meaning to DCA into Tesla for a while, so we're going to do this. I was having a conversation with some Tesla bulls last night. They were like, yo, this is the time. And I was like, I feel you. This is the time. Let's start a small DCA into Tesla. There we go on Robinhood. 500. Boom. For those who don't know, I had Tesla at 294, sold it at 314 because I was like, this is stupid. And I've been waiting for it to drop more and more and more. I'm happy DCAing 2.7 shares at 184 on Tesla. We'll start a little bit of that. Again, it's not crazy. 500. There's a lot more money you could have put in. $500, 2 shares. You got to at least start the DCA at some level. You got to start the DCA. So we will see. Elon selling again. Well, Elon absolutely is getting wrecked right now for selling. Look, a lot of people did not like that Elon Musk decided to end up selling. He hasn't answered for it, by the way. Every analyst on Twitter has been like, yo, can you please tell us like why you're selling? He has not answered. He has not answered at all. And so that's where we see. All right, we're seeing the market cool down a little bit. Tesla now up 3.3. Roblox up 2.2. Meta 3.9. Palantir is actually going up. Palantir 9. ARK is down a little bit from 10%. Roku down 8.8%. So it's down a little bit. Amit will sell next week. I always sell Tesla. That's the problem. But now I actually want to have a long-term position in Tesla. I actually want to keep it. So I'm ready to officially DCA into Tesla. 184, I think, is to me a reasonable price. How much money did Twitter make on blue checks yesterday? Take a guess. Wait, Sean, is that number out? Or are you just saying that? I would love to know that number. Before I answer, I want to know if that number's out or if you're just asking that rhetorically. I think they made some money. Now, granted, they have 45 million monetizable DAUs. We'll see if there's enough conversion off that, because it only launched in the United States and it only launched on iOS from what I saw. Like my Android friends didn't have it. My friends in Canada didn't have it. No assumptive. Okay, so 45 million DAUs in the US. Let's say it launched to about 80% of them, because I'm going to be conservative and say it didn't roll out perfectly. So that's 0.80 times 45 million. So let's say 36 million people got it. I would say there's a 5% conversion on those 36 million. So about 1.8 million people times $8. So they made about 14 million yesterday. They had 423K before yesterday. They had 423,000 verified checks on the $8, or just verified people, or verified $8. If we assume a 5% conversion off of some of the DAUs, like that's about 1.8 million people, which I don't think is crazy. 1.8 million. I mean, that's a lot of people, but I don't think that's crazy given how many people are already verified. Granted, who knows? That might not be 69,420. We have blue now in Canada. Okay, so that's going to get the numbers up as well. Why doesn't Elon sell shares directly to Tesla instead of dumping it on the market? Seems to me like perfect buyback opportunity because they're not taking it. Yeah, I mean, that's also a question to consider. Sean says verified general, not including blue. Interesting. So there's 423,000 verified creators on Twitter. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, if we assume 5%, then Twitter made a decent amount of money yesterday. Now, granted, so I listened to Ross Gerber talk yesterday. Ross Gerber was a private investor in Twitter. He was on Farzad's channel. Shout out to Farzad. And Ross Gerber explicitly said, Elon Musk is selling Tesla because he needs to backstop the Twitter losses, meaning on a personal level, he has personal debt that he used to finance the Twitter deal, and he needs to have like a couple billion in the bank in case things go south, because Twitter's losing how much Twitter's losing? Twitter's losing $4 million a day. That's what he said. So yeah, I mean, that could be an argument for why he did that. So as we can see, the market's cooling down a little bit. We're cooling down a bit. At least Meta only up 3%, S&P only up 3%, Tesla only up 2%, Netflix up 2%. So the rally is cooling down. This was a very short-lived, if we're going to see a play like that, but we're going to see if it happens. Mark, good morning. Amid new cart video from Palantir real-world application, next appearing with product manager Peter Wilskin. Just saw it. Interesting. It looks like a new video. Yep, I saw like 2 minutes of it today when I was brushing my teeth. So probably will do a review on that a little bit later. Glad I sold my calls at open. Yeah, makes sense. And I don't know if anyone expected this to happen. I on the morning show we did today, I said inflation would come below 7.9. It was a little bit of a guess, a little bit of more like speculation around commodity prices based on the articles I was reading. So we're going to see if that happens. All right, let's look at the talking heads. Let's see what they are speaking about and what they think about inflation and everything else that is happening. Right. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to SEC Chair Gary Gensler talk about FTX. This is probably going to be an interesting one to see. Morning, Amit, your mic has static sometimes, in case you didn't know. Yeah, I do know. I'm trying to fix that. Oh, the good thing is it's not during the whole stream. It happens like here, it comes and goes. So hopefully we can fix that soon. But thank you for letting me know. Amit, do you play COD? No, I don't play any video games, unfortunately. All right, let's listen.
Lots of questions this morning for you about what is happening. And so let's just start with, what do you know and what are you investigating?
Andrew, as you can imagine, and your viewers know that I can't speak about any possible investigations, but let's step back and say what's happening here. And it's really as old as finance and as antiquity. When you mix together a bunch of customer money, non-disclosure, and leverage, borrowing against it, and inside these companies trading, investors get hurt. And I think just looking at what we see in the press, if I can stay with that, just Andrew, this story has been going on for many months. You remember the collapse of Terra Luna and a bunch of crypto lending platforms. Well, it looks like in the last few days, this is all interconnected. This is a very interconnected world in crypto, with a few concentrated players at the middle. And one of those concentrated players had the toxic combinations of lack of disclosure, customer money, a lot of leverage, meaning borrowing, and then trying to invest with that. And then when markets turned on them, it appears that a lot of customers lost money. And that's where our mission is about those customers.
Well, let's talk about that, Gary, because critics would say, look, you have been talking about the need for regulating and yet have not. There's been lots of focus. We had you on last time when you went after Kim Kardashian. But on a relative basis, going after Kim Kardashian compared to what is now a massive undoing of FTX.
This is true. This isn't a pump and dump scheme from an Instagram story. This is a lot bigger. I'm curious to see what Gary Gensler says about this now and what's going to happen with FTX.
Isn't enough. What do you say about that?
Also, real quick, I just checked my Robinhood. This was not my first. I forgot I had 5 shares of Tesla at 244. I literally forgot. I was like, oh, this is my new Tesla. I was like, wait a second. I have 7 shares now. Yeah. My average is 222 now on Tesla. I had 5 shares at 240. So the 500 just DCA'd and reduced my average by $20. So that's the Tesla update.
Look, I think that investors need better protection in this space. But I would say this is a field that's significantly non-compliant, but it's got regulation, and those regulations are often very clear. And we have multiple paths. And one path is working with those crypto exchanges, crypto lending platforms, and to get them properly registered. And why that matters is that's so the public's protected. But we have another.
We have breaking news. I got to stop this because we have news from the person himself. Here we go. Sam Bankman-Fried has tweeted. Sam Bankman-Fried, owner of FTX, he's tweeted. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We got something. Okay, I haven't even read this. It just came across on Twitter. So let's read it together. Sam Bankman-Fried said, let me zoom in a little bit. He says, I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. I effed up and I should have done better. Okay, first tweet. Second tweet. I also should have been communicating more very recently. Transparently, my hands were tied during the duration of the possible Binance deal. I wasn't particularly allowed to say much publicly, but of course it's on me that we ended up there in the first place. Here's an update about where things are going. This is all about FTX International, the non-US exchange. FTX users are fine. Okay, so he definitely thinks FTX US users are totally fine. Treat all of these numbers as rough. There are approximations here. Okay, let's see. He says FTX International currently has a total market value of assets to collateral higher than client deposits. Okay, but that's different from liquidity for delivery. As you can tell from the state of withdrawals, the liquidity varies widely from very to little. Okay, so that still means there's a lot of withdrawals happening. The full story here is one, I'm still fleshing out every detail here, but as a very high level, I effed up twice. The first time, a poor internal labeling of bank-related accounts meant that I was substantially off on my sense of users' margin. I thought it was way lower. That means when they were taking money from their accounts, they didn't realize users were underwater and on margin, which means they needed to have the collateral to back them up. My sense before, leverage was 0x, US liquidity ready to deliver 24x average daily withdrawals. Actual people on FTX were on leverage 1.7x, and liquidity was only 0.8x Sunday withdrawal. So he thought they had 24 times the money that people were using on leverage, or people were using to take out of, like meaning they had, if I put 100,000 into Bank of America and I wanted to take it out, Bank of America had like 2.4 million ready to go, or 24 million or whatever. They had enough money at the tune of 24x that money to be able to give back. Actually, they only had 0.8. So it's like Bank of America only had 8% of that 100,000, or 80% of that 100,000. Leverage was actually 1.7x. Because, of course, when it rains, it pours, we saw roughly $5 billion of withdrawals on Sunday, the largest by a huge margin. Sean already in the chat saying, get the F out of this. Oh boy, here we go. And so I was off twice, which tells me a lot of things, both specifically and generally, that I was shit at. And a third time, I'm not communicating enough. I should have said more. I'm sorry. I was slammed with things to do and didn't give updates to you all. I was slammed with things to do, okay? And here we are, which sucks, and that's on me. I'm sorry. Anyway, right now, my number one priority is by doing right by users, and I'm going to do whatever I can to do that, to take responsibility and do what I can. So right now, we're spending the whole week doing everything we can to raise liquidity. I heard they need to raise $8 billion to become whole, to make their users whole as well. I don't know where the hell they're getting these $8 billion from. I can't make any promises about that, but I'm going to try and give anything I can to make that work. In this market, who the hell is giving you $8 billion? Even if it's 1 billion, like where are you getting this money from? I think that's also why FTX or Binance stopped, because they were like, we can't afford this. There are a number of players who we are in talks with, LOIs, term sheets, etc. We'll see how that ends up. Okay, so maybe they've got somebody that's willing to put money into this. That's unbelievable to me. I'm quite shocked, honestly, that they have the ability versus just claiming they're going to go bankrupt. Every penny of that and of the existing collateral will go straight to the users unless or until we've done right by them. After that, investors, old and new, and employees who have fought for what's right in their career, who weren't responsible for any of the F-ups, will get the money. Because at the end of the day, I was CEO, which means that I was responsible for making sure that things went well. I ultimately should have been top on everything. I've clearly failed in that. I'm sorry. So what does this mean going forward? I'm not sure. That depends on what happens over the next week, but here are some things I know. First, one way or another, Alameda Research is winding down trading. Wow. This is a trading firm that is managing, I think, about $15 billion last time I checked. They aren't doing any of the weird things that I see on Twitter and nothing large at all. And one way or another, they soon won't be trading on FTX anymore. Second, in any scenario in which FTX continues operating, its first priority will be radical transparency. Okay. Given it's close to on-chain transparency, isn't Bitcoin supposed to be the most transparent thing? Okay, whatever. All of the stakeholders would have a hard look at FTX governance. I will not be around if I'm not wanted. So he's saying he could be fired from FTX US. I'm assuming he thinks FTX US is still going to be running and he's going to be the CEO of that, I guess. All of the stakeholders, investors would have a large part in how to be run. Why isn't it just a DAO? Why don't you just make it part of a Discord so everyone can have voting power? Why don't we just embrace that? But all of that isn't what matters right now. What matters right now is trying to do right by customers. A few other sort of comments. This was about FTX International, FTX US, the US-based exchange that accept Americans, was not financially impacted. It's 100% liquid. Every user could fully withdraw. Okay. And I believe him when he says that, but also like 3 hours before FTX International collapse, he also said a competitor is spreading rumors about us. Don't worry, we're fine. So when you say that, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, you've just got to. At some point, I might have to say more about a particular sparring partner, so to speak, but glass houses. So for now, all I'll say is well played. You want, wow. Sean says, why the F would anyone give him $8 billion after this? Look at this. This is business cutthroat capitalism 101. He says, at some point, I might have more to say about a particular sparring partner. He's talking about Binance, but glass houses. So for now, all I'll say is well played. You won. He is admitting defeat to Binance. I think this tweet subliminally is saying Binance was never going to bail us out. Binance put on this media show to imagine they were going to bail us out. And then they decided last minute to not only stab you in the back, but really make sure that knife hits your intestines. And they won. And they pulled out last second to make an absolute media spectacle of this and totally get them under concern. He says, not advice. I was not very careful with my words here and do not have any of them in a technical or legal sense. I may well have not described. What is this, bro? Get out of here. I may well have not described things right. I'm trying to be transparent. I'm not a good dev and probably misdescribed something, so that's not legal advice. What is this, bro? What is going on? Hold on. You issue this was a 17, 18 tweet thread talking to the millions of people that are dying to know answers, and you don't even have a lawyer review it. You put, hey, not financial advice at the end. So is anything you're saying true? And again, I'm not trying to be overly mean or anything, but this is bad, bro. This is insane. You're going to say, by the way, anything I'm saying could be wrong. I tried to do the best I can describing it. It's like, yeah, you tried to do the best you can running an entire crypto exchange, and that didn't work out. So your tweet, wow. That is a hell of a news. Sorry, not sorry. Basically, Jonah Hill 2028. This is madness. Only I have a wallet and I never liked centralized. Does this mean he can't afford to have Twitter balloon? Oh my goodness. Jail. That's a big question. What do you think in the chat? Do you think he's going to jail? Shout out to 300 people being here. Do you think he's going to jail? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Madoff went to jail. Is this as bad as Madoff? Is this Madoff? Adam Newman will fund it. Oh, man. I wonder how A16Z and all these venture capitalists in Silicon Valley that think crypto is going to be the next big thing, which it may still be. I wonder how they're feeling right now because they passed on a lot of legitimate companies to fund a lot of BS. And so if FTX collapses, the idea that some token-based social media company that has its own token they made out of thin air is good. If FTX collapses and that company you think is good, we'll see. We will see. We will see. Tesla rallying a little bit now at 187, up 5%. It was just at 180. I just bought at 184. Enphase 295, Palantir 777 being up 11%. SoFi up 5%, not that bad as well. Coinbase 51, DNA 2.4, S&P at 388. Wow. This is absolutely incredible. Snow is up 15%. Why is Snowflake up 15%? Isn't it cold right now outside? No, that wasn't a good joke. I tried, guys. I'm sorry. That wasn't a good joke. But Snowflake is up 15%. That's good. Rocket Labs up 8. I feel bad for Joel, bro. He sold Rocket Labs yesterday, literally. I think at the bottom. What did he sell? Or no, he sold it like 520. Wow. Rocket Labs is up 20%. Goodness. This is a hell of a day in the market if you have some of these individual stocks and you have big positions. The dumpster fire is cooling off. Yeah. Is SoFi a buy? I think SoFi is a great company. I think they have a long-term future. If they are a buy or not, that is up to you. And if you feel comfortable DCAing or going long, there's still probably a lot of pain that could happen in a lot of different stocks. She should at least be able to never take people's money again. You know what the funny thing is? Sam Bankman-Fried, I'll say it now, is probably going to start another company if FTX all collapses and he doesn't go to jail, and he'll probably raise more money for this. And it's just like Adam Newman in Silicon Valley. If you've been able to build anything to any substantial level, even if it all collapses, venture capitalists want to back you again because it is so hard to build anything that they are looking for anybody that has the experience of building a large-scale enterprise. And so I think it's very likely he could start something else. He probably will start something else. I don't know if it's going to be the crypto space, but he'll be able to raise money. That's 100%. He'll be able to raise money. Current Palantir position is about 2,300 shares, $18 average. Just wait for a signal. I'm doing the Birdman hang hub right now. Also, Chris, by the way, I told Ether this. I'm not going to be able to make the Palantir shareholders thing tonight. So for those who are going to New York, I realized I have like 5 meetings tonight. I have a startup. I have to make some hard decisions. Those meetings matter. I'm not going to be able to make that meeting. I thought I was going to be able to yesterday. I'm not going to be able to make it up. So Chris, at least you're in New York all the time. So I'll be able to see you and Adam like anytime we want. We could all get together, get a drink. But yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make that meetup. Oh, you mean? Oh, Chris, 297 people. You are witnessing this live right now. This is the moment when you and a friend make plans and you feel so bad for canceling, and then your friend is like, "Yeah, I can't make it either," and then you don't feel bad at all. You feel fucking phenomenal. That's great. Thank goodness you don't make. Oh, that's awesome. So all right, let's go back to CNBC. That's so awesome, Chris. You just made my day because I felt bad about it, but I'm like, bro, I can't make this meeting. So like, there's just no way I could do this. Oh, that's awesome. So let me know in the chat if you guys have ever had that situation, because that's one of the best feelings ever. Okay, Jim Cramer's talking about inflation. Let's see what he's got to say.
Stock Exchange. Jim Cramer joins us now. Jim, in your view, what is this something you should fade, or should we switch and get a little bit more bullish, or sell into strength because it's eventually headed lower?
I was just going over with Jeff Marks, who works with me on Travel Trust, and we are going to sell some things into the opening. We do like some of the different lines that are in this, but not enough. And this kind of reaction has become very typical of an erratic market. And we frankly just don't want to wait for the next bend. You know, look, your interview with Gary Gensler was very, very dispositive. That we have $1 trillion basically that's up for grabs in a caveat emptor situation. So why not take advantage of this and do some selling?
Bitcoin too, huh?
Well, Bitcoin, I think it's been revealed as, well, let's just say that Bitcoin could fall to 12,000 without a problem. And, you know, the apologists for Bitcoin, it's really getting very thin. And Gensler basically came on and just said, look, you're on your own. And I don't want to be on my own. Now, I candidly did make a lot of money in Bitcoin. It was fool's gold. I just did it to play momentum. But I think your interview was very dispositive to getting out of all these things. And this may be a really terrific opportunity.
But so you don't view that's, you know, when you saw some of these whatever you want to call them in the past. We used all the words. We covered them all. It's Madoffian or Ponzi. I thought we replaced Ponzi with Madoffian.
I don't think I just think it's no.
They all had they were investing in securities, but they were doing a Ponzi scheme. You don't think the underlying security it's not FTX? You think it's the underlying security where there's an actual issue?
Look, I think that they could go higher. They were probably oversold, but I think that Gary's point to me was very simple, which is that, you can be in an unregulated market or a regulated market. And I prefer to be in a regulated market. And I think that there's 230 coins that have been issued. And they, to me, a lot of those just seem like alchemy. This can go up. Look, there's so many people who have so much money invested. They have to try to keep them up. But what an opportunity to get out over the next few days, not all, of these things. After that interview, look, the interview was a lot of people were concerned. I felt it was groundbreaking. Some of my friends felt it wasn't groundbreaking. But I think the ultimate takeaway from your interview with Gensler was, you got to be crazy to be in this stuff. And I was getting 8.5%. I remember asking Gensler when I was in one of these organizations that was involved with FTX. I said I was getting 8.5 every night. And he goes, well, don't you think that's too good to be true? I mean, I worked at Goldman. And the answer, yeah, it was. But boy, was it great getting it. But that's,
Did Kramer really just say that? Kramer just said, yeah, 8.5% yield was way too good, but it was great getting it at the time. All right. Well, look, Kramer literally said sell Palantir yesterday. He's been bearish on tech stocks. He might end up being right. We don't know. Let's take one last look at the market, see how it's ending out. The overarching thing is that the market is up today. S&P, wow, 390. S&P touches 390. Let me tweet that. I got to do a tweet on that. S&P touches 390. SPY touches 390. Wow. 390 psychologically is big. If it goes to 400, obviously that's not bad. Meta rallying, pretty violently, up 5%. Tesla doing decently. Netflix is up. So nothing has fallen. Now, look at it. Snapchat, even Snapchat up above $10. This was a stock that was at $7. It couldn't get out of $9 for past couple of weeks. Now it's at 10. Look, we'll see what happens. The stocks are up. I still am a bit skeptical that this is going to sustain itself. I think, let's look at Square. Goodness, 17% in one day. That's phenomenal. Their earnings probably give them the ability to deserve that. But we're going to see how that plays out. We will see if this stays throughout the entire day. And then tomorrow's Friday. Fridays, we traditionally have a sell-off. That's going to be the big day to know if this happens, if this is sustaining itself. So the rest of the day, it's going to be important. And then tomorrow is going to be very important to see kind of how that plays out. Chicken's still bearish. Well, Chicken's been right so far. He's been right. He says Tesla to 140, right? That's 420 pre-slit. So we got to see if we actually get there. We've got to see if we get there. All right. That's, by the way, someone asked what app I use. I use Webull. I forgot to answer that question. I said Webull. What factor the algorithm trading play in these types of rational rallies? Odds are strong that all these gains will vanish into thinner by tomorrow morning. It's insanity. Yeah, look, when the CPI came out, all the algorithms already programmed if it's above 7 point or below 7 point, whatever, they're gonna buy or sell. I mean, this stuff is just baked into the financial market. So as soon as the data comes out, it rallies, and they know it as like in milliseconds. And then it's a question of if there is any momentum towards it. And this might just be a little small bear market rally for today. That's it. And so we got to see. Audio still crackly. All right, I'm gonna work on that. Sorry. Why Tesla, not Rivian? Because it's Tesla. It's Tesla at the end of the day, and it's Elon Musk. All right, thank you everybody so much. I appreciate it. Daily Cowbell episode will be releasing probably in the next 30 to 35 minutes. It's the pinned comment on this chat. You guys can check it out. Subscribe to that channel. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you all for being here. It means the absolute world. We're averaging like 250 to 300 people here every morning, which means a lot to me. This is my 1 year anniversary of starting YouTube, so it means a lot to get this far. Thank you all for being here. I will see you guys later throughout the day, and have a great Thursday. And let's end out this week. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.